Hey, so in this video, I am going to do a detailed breakdown of how to set up a new computer. And this will include how to set up Anaconda, how to activate it, how to pip install everything, and what is pip install and all that good stuff. So pip install is what you're going to be using in order to install things into your environment. Now, what's an environment? Well, an Anaconda environment is essentially like a box, and you have your computer, which is the main box, and then an Anaconda environment is like a sub box, and it's saying like, hey, I have this box of algo trading stuff. Let's put it over here in this environment, not just on my computer. So the computer's the house, right? The computer's the house, and then you have these rooms or big little boxes, which are Anaconda environments, where you can install all types of different packages. Now, what are packages? Packages are like mini apps that you would install into your code, into your environment. So you're installing these little apps, and the way it's called is called pip install. Why? I don't know. But anyways, it's pip install. That will install things into your little boxes, which are the Conda environments. And remember, the house is your computer, and you want to keep things organized. Now, people have asked me, how many environments do I use? I typically use one main environment for my algo trading. And then if I do something different, like maybe auto GPT, something just kind of new in the world, and I want to keep things separate, maybe I'll start another environment. So I'll also show you how to start another environment. So I'm just going to try to be super detailed here, just because I know this can be kind of confusing. It for sure was confusing for me when I got started, but it's actually very simple. So let's go ahead and use AI to assist us here. I'm using Luxy, and there should be free access to this if you want to use this. Same thing as ChatGPT, use whatever, it doesn't matter. What is Anaconda for Python? So let's ask that first. Probably give us a random response at first. Weird little bug almost. So what is Anaconda for Python? Anaconda is a free open source distribution of Python programming language that is often used for data science and scientific computing. Now, you're an algo trader now, so you are a data scientist. Anaconda includes Python along with a collection of pre-installed scientific packages and tools such as NumPy, Pandas, Jupyter Notebook, and many others. These packages are commonly used for tasks such as data analysis, visualization, machine learning, and more. One of the key advantages of Anaconda is that it simplifies the process of managing and installing Python packages. It provides a command line interface for installing and updating packages, as well as a graphical user interface, Anaconda Navigator, that allows users to easily install and launch applications. So what you're going to do is when you're setting up your computer, is you download Anaconda. So just type in download Anaconda, download it for your computer. Everything I'm showing you here is on Mac, so things might be a little bit different for PC, but it should be relatively similar. So just download it, get it installed, go through that whole process of installing it, and then we can move on to the next step. So once you have installed it, now we're going to create our first environment. So I'll just write create first environment, and I'll try to make sure that this note sheet is here so you can have it. So create first environment. So step one is download Anaconda. You've already done that. And then second, you want to create an environment. So I'm just going to copy this, and you can name this quant part is the name I'm naming the environment. So name it whatever you want. If you want it to be ATC for Algo Trade Camp or Algo Trading, whatever you want. But just remember, you're going to need to remember this name, and you're going to need to, I wouldn't make it super long because it gets annoying if it's too long, right? Because you have to retype it over and over again. So we're going to go and create that first environment. So remember, what's an environment? Well, we're allowed to do this because we already downloaded Anaconda, right? And an environment is like that box or a room inside the house. We're going to keep all of our stuff organized in that environment that we're creating. And how do you create it? You create it like this. but I'll show you how. And this is the name. So this is the name of that room, that environment, that box, whatever you want to call it. So quant is what I call mine. And then this essentially tells the program to create it and then name it whatever you put right here. So I know when I first got started coding, this was very like confusing to me. Like why is there a dash name? It just is what it is. And this is called a flag, and it's called a name. It's a flag. So throughout your coding journey, when you're working inside a terminal, there's going to sometimes be like, hey, you know, we need to have a flag of name or flag of type or flag of whatever. The flag is indicated by these two dashes, and then you put the name here. So Conda create flag of name, and then you put your name you want here. And then I'm saying you to Python. I'm having you install Python 3.8.5. Now this theoretically could be anything, but since I use 3.8.5 inside of the whole camp, it is better to use this because it will stay aligned with what I'm doing. So if you're using something else, that's fine, but just know that if things are different throughout the camp and packages work differently, that if you change to 3.8.5, that will probably fix things. So how do we go ahead and run this line? Well, there's two ways to do it. You could open up your terminal here and run it through here if you want. But what I like to do a lot of the time is just run it from Visual Studio Code. So you should already have Visual Studio Code, and if you don't already have it, let me just make sure to go over everything here. So if you don't already have Visual Studio Code, just download it, Visual Studio Code, and download this. It's where we'll be writing all our code, and Windows, Mac, and so on and so on. And what you're going to want to do here is, let's go ahead and get this out of here for now. I'm going to make a folder. I use Dropbox, but I can make a folder here and I can just call it whatever you want. Algo trading. So once you have Visual Studio Code, if you're not here already, well, let me show you how to get there. There's a file tab up here in the top left, and you click new window. And when you click new window, it was a little weird to me that you couldn't just write new file, but you actually have to open a folder. And that's why I made this folder on my desktop. This folder can be anywhere. If you use Dropbox or whatever you use, click open. And this is you only have to do this if you're not already in Visual Studio Code. If you already figured that part out, then that's good. We'll go to desktop here and grab the algo trading folder, and that's the folder we'll open up. And you can see you just hit trust authors. There's nothing in there. And now we have a new window here that is specifically for algo trading. And I can say, call it whatever, new.py. Everything has to end in py if you want to have it be a Python file. So new.py, I can print hello. And you can see it prints. But look at this. If I said new and just did that, that isn't a Python file, so it can't run. So if I print hello, that's not going to run because it's not a Python file. So just make sure you always have .py at the end of the file names if you want it to be a Python file, which most of the files are going to be. Now you can also have other files like hello.txt. This is just a text file. Or hello.md. You'll sometimes see that. This is where like readmes are. But don't worry about these for now. Just make sure that all your files that we run throughout this training end with py, because most of them are going to be Python files. So now you know how to set up a new Visual Studio instance, and you can do this as many times as you want. Like you can open all types of folders. So I could maybe make another folder here and call it quant. And I thought this was a little interesting when I first got started, like how you had to open a folder with Visual Studio. Like you couldn't just create a file. So new window, and then you would see you can open, and then you have to go find that folder. You can see quant right there, and I could open it up. And now I have two different instances open. So if I wanted two different bots running at the same time, I could do it this way. And yeah, so I'm going to close these for now, and let's jump back into the Anaconda part. I won't save for now. And so back to this part. So there's two ways to do this, but I like to just do it inside of here. So if you go to the top here, you can't see it, but there's a drop down here that says new terminal. And the first option here is new terminal. So, make sure you're selected on your Visual Studio Code. Go to the top, it says terminal. There should be a drop down menu, click new terminal, and it will pull up your terminal. And then you just pick whichever directory you're in. So I'm in this one, YouTube vids, and I just select it, and it should pull up a new terminal here. So this is how we're going to create the environment. So actually, no, I don't want to do it this way, because you can see it automatically sets me up with the regular environment that I'm already in, because I've already set everything up. So I want to show you how to do it through terminal, because this is the more official way. And while, I think terminal was very intimidating to me when I first got started, let's just get to hard mode now, because, you're going to have to be working inside of this here and there. But don't worry, you have AI to walk you through anything. So I can go ahead and say, once I've downloaded Anaconda, how do I install it into my terminal? And then show me 10 other things I can do with Anaconda. So I love doing that, because I'll ask for the actual thing, and then I'll also ask for just some more tips, because it's always nice to know. So you can see right here, it shows base layer. That means I'm on just like a regular base layer. And you can see open a new terminal, run the Anaconda installer. You don't probably have to do this, because you probably already installed it just by hand. Like, just follow the instructions on the UI it gives you. So here are 10 things you can do. Let's just go with my instructions for now, but that's nice to have. So you can see here, it says base layer. That means we're not on a environment. And I could say conda create, remember, -- name, quant, and this can be whatever you want. This is the only part that you can change pretty much. This can be the name you want. And I'm going to call it example. I'm gonna call it Algo Trader, so it makes sense. And I'll just copy this over. And here, since Anaconda is already installed, you should be able to just paste it in there. And then you can see it's retrieving notices, it's collecting a bunch of stuff, whatever. It's just doing a bunch of coding stuff that is, to be honest, when I got started, just super intimidating. And it is what it is. But it's actually easy to do at the end of the day. Now it says, can I install a bunch of stuff? And it's essentially installing a bunch of data science packages, which is good. And then you can actually read this right here. And again, it looks gross if you're getting new to this. If you're new to this, to activate this environment, use conda activate and then the environment name. To deactivate the environment, conda deactivate. So let's just copy this over and do exactly what it says. You can see right here, it still says we're on base. That means we're still in the house. We're like on the main computer. We want to jump into our new virtual environment, which is conda activate Algo Trader. So let's copy that over, paste it in, and you can see now we're in Algo Trader. So look at that. That's awesome, right? Now we're not in the main house anymore. We're in Algo Trader. And then if I want to get out of it, and this is really tricky too sometimes. It's actually super simple, but it used to trip me up. Sometimes I would think I was in my Algo Trader environment, but then I was actually in base, because this was like too much text for me to look at. But all you have to do is look at here and you can see where you are. So now I want to get out of Algo Trader, just to show you a few more things before we move on to Pip installing and how to do that. I just want to make sure I cover everything in this one video so you fully understand. So I just copied this, Conda deactivate, and I'm gonna paste it in. And you can see now we're back here. But let's try it again. Let's activate and do this with me. Conda activate. And now we're back in. And then watch this. I can Conda deactivate. Boom. And now we're back out. Now, what if we want to make a whole new environment? Well, make sure that you're in the base environment. Now, you don't really need to do this, but you could just name it whatever. But if you're in base, you can go ahead and create a new one. Just like that. I'm not going to do that because you just saw it took a little while to install stuff. So I'm not going to do that. But you can see the next step is to Conda activate whatever name we had. So in this case, it was actually, before it was quant, but step 3 is just activate the environment. So look here, if you're on base, you need to activate it. If you're on Algo Trader, you don't need to activate it. So, or whatever you named it. Let's go up here and say Conda activate and just paste it in. Conda activate. Now make sure this correlates to whatever name you put right here. Left side of the screen, I'm highlighting quant. And this should be named that. But remember, we used Algo Trader as our name. So I'll just make this all super clear. So Conda create, name, Algo Trader. And then once we installed all that, which was all of this mess up here, then it gave us this instruction here to activate this environment. All you have to do is Conda activate. Now, here's another just quick tip. When people tell you to do something in terminal, they usually put these $signs in front of them, and you don't actually copy the $signs. When I first got started, I would sometimes like try to run this whole line, and that wouldn't work. The $signs are just kind of like an unsaid rule saying that's like the start of a terminal command. So we've already Conda activated. And just to show you one more time to make sure this is super clear, when it shows you're in the name, that means the Anaconda environment is active. If I want to deactivate it, I just type in Conda deactivate. Now we're back in base. So let's just jump back into Conda activate and get into the Anaconda environment so we can move on to the next steps. So now we're into the Anaconda environment. So what I want to do is first pip install pandas TA. So I'm going to just type in pip install pandas -ta. And then it's just going to take some time. It's going to download it and it's going to install it. So now it's ready to use. And now you can use pandas TA. Now I want to go ahead and actually grab one more pip install because we started using this more. Backtesting.py. So I'm going to add that to the list here. So it's just backtesting. And now you just saw me pip install the pandas TA, right? And it was just pip install pandas-ta. If you ever need to figure out how to pip install something or like how to download a package, just type in pip install and then whatever the package name is, like tensor, or that would probably be hard, ccxt, and it usually comes up under this address, py. And then you can just copy and install it into your Anaconda environment. Now, let's go ahead and make sure backtesting is here. Backtesting. Now, since we already have pandas installed, what I want to do here is, I'll remove this just for a second. Let's go ahead. Since I've already installed it, no need to install it twice. But I want to show you a little trick about how to install a bunch of stuff at once. So all you have to do to install multiple packages is write pip install and then all the packages you want. But unlike, we would in English or whatever, in English we'd have commas, right? Commas in between these, or like SEO or whatever. But in code, you're just typing in backtrader space backtesting. So this is the backtrader library. This is the backtesting library. This here is a ccxt library, which connects to the exchanges. Requests library helps pull requests from the internet, so like data from the internet if needed. The pandas library does a lot of it's like Excel pretty much. Y Finance is where you can get finance data from Yahoo. Scikit-learn is a machine learning type library. NumPy is a math library. We have pandas on here twice, so I can delete that. And then matplotlib is a plotting library. So I can actually just copy all this. You can do it one by one if you want, just to get you get some reps up. Like I could do pip install backtrader. I could do pip install backtesting. But I'm not going to do that. I just want to show you this because this actually took me a while to figure out. Like I didn't know that you could just pip install all of them at once. So just double check you're still inside of your AlgoTrader environment, and then just paste in what I just showed you, and it will pip install all the stuff at once, so you can just chill and just wait for it to install. Now this is going to take a little bit of time, and this is how you add packages to your environment. So now you know how to create an environment, you know how to activate and deactivate the environment, you know how to add packages to the environment, you know how to activate it, you know how to start another environment. Just make sure to do conda deactivate and get out of this one, and then you create a new environment like that, and you just change the name right here. So you can have two environments if you want. Like I said earlier, I just use one environment usually for algo trading. Some other things, like if they're big things, big changes or brand new stuff that I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll start a new environment. Like I said, for like Auto GPT and stuff, I started a new environment just because I didn't know much about Auto GPT. So now you can see it's done. So we're good to go. Let's see pip installing properly. You have that. You know how to pip install. And then now we have everything installed. Let's go ahead and let's just save this for a second. And I'm going to open a new window here. And I'm going to show you how to get connected now to that environment. So let's go open one of those folders we created earlier, algo trading. And once that's open, we can go down to, let's make this a little bigger. Let's go to new.py and let's close this tab so we can see things a little better. And then up here in the top right, well, we actually in the bottom right here, you can see it's connected to 3.89. But remember, we actually set up Python 3.85. So that gives us a little bit of a clue that this is not on the right environment. So while the code works, I can print hello, fine, just by hitting play. That works, but 3.89, that must not be the right environment. So when I try to import, let's say, let's go here, import pandas. Well, it worked, but import CCXT, you can see there's an underline under it because it didn't work. And that's because we're not in the right environment. Remember, this is 3.89, but remember, we set 3.85. So you actually have to go here, click it, and then you have to look for that environment you created. And look at my environments. You see base, you see T-flow. But if I scroll down here, I see AlgoTrader. So that's how you do it. That's how you get to your environment. You go, let me just close out one more time. Bottom right, click in the blue around Python 3.89. And then you go ahead and you find the environment that you want to activate. So you click that and then it activates it. And now you can see CCXT works. And if I run this now, I don't know what just happened. Python API failed. Go ahead. Print hello. Okay, that works. And then let's import CCXT. Python API failed. Okay, something weird is there, but if you ever get a weird thing like that, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just upgrade the package. So let's go ahead and say, how would I upgrade this package? So let's just go over to AI. And this is a good thing. I'm glad we're running into this error. How would I upgrade this pip install? Because there's a different way to upgrade packages. To upgrade the CCXT library using pip, so you can see pip install, and back to what I was saying about flags. You see the dash upgrade? That's a flag. So pip install dash upgrade, and you can paste it in here. Oh, paste it in, and you just note that you're in your AlgoTrader environment, and paste it in, and then you can see it's updated. So that's how you go ahead and upgrade. You saw how I switched to 3.8.5. And what else do we want to go over here in this? We can see here backtrader, import backtrader should be blue now. Back testing should be blue. And if it's not, then something went wrong. So let's go ahead and double check that this is the correct thing. Back testing, and we can always pip install it again if needed. No module named back testing. So okay, if that happens, this is good. We're running into some errors because this is part of the game, right? It's you'll run into errors, but you have to know how to fix them. So pip install back testing. Says it's already installed. So it's a little weird. And sometimes what happens is you actually have to restart your environments because it just needs to kind of update. So I'm going to hard quit everything. I've already saved everything. And then from here, I can open Visual Studio Code back up. And down here, you can see I'm on AlgoTrader Conda, and we're all set up. Now let's go ahead here, and backtesting still doesn't look like it wants to connect, but we'll figure this out. Backtesting, pip install backtesting. Oh, sorry, I just set this up wrong. It actually says from backtesting import backtesting. So you actually, for backtesting, you do it that way. And that's what the docs are always good for as well. I made an error because I didn't read, but that's my bad. So you can see now backtesting and backtrader are both installed properly. And you can see it prints out hello. And you know that these two are installed properly because what it does when the code runs, it's running line by line. So line 1, it makes sure it pulls in all this code that comes in. And then line 2, make sure all this code works. And then if any of these didn't work, then it wouldn't get to line 4, but it printed out hello. So you know it works. So let's see if there's anything else I want to go over in this. You can change environments here again. Like for example, if you ever need to jump into another Anaconda environment, like for example, I was setting up TensorFlow and it needed a different environment. So for TensorFlow, I went ahead and created an environment called tflow, and I jump in there and I don't have backtrader installed or backtesting. So you can see in the bottom right, it's my new environment is tflow Conda. But remember, we set up AlgoTrader, so you can just jump over here. So it's just some things you want to look out for. You want to make sure that you're on the right environment. You want to make sure that says Conda and your name that you had set up, and it should match to whatever you set up here in the first steps. Another one thing I want to show you is this Conda info-envs, and this will show you all your Conda environments. So if you go back here and let's just do Conda deactivate, because as you can see right here, I'm in my AlgoTrader environment. So I'm going to get out of it by doing that. And then I'm going to paste Conda info. And then look at this. This is called a flag.envs. And this should list all my environments. And you can see, there we go. I have my 3 environments there. So just like that, I think this is going to give you everything you need. I'm going to close this for now to really understand fully how Anaconda works, how to create the environments. I showed you that. I showed you how to add packages. Packages are these things that you pip install. I showed you how to activate and deactivate. I showed you how to create new environments. We already went over the pip installing, and then I showed you how to change environments with VS Code and create new Visual Studio Code windows. So you should be good to go to really to crush the rest of the bootcamp. And if you have any questions along the way, that's what I'm here for. And just post them in the Discord and I'll try to answer them. Or if they're longer questions, I'll make a video like this because I want to make sure that this is all super straightforward and holding your hand through this process. Now, just only thing I ask is make sure to lean on AI, whether you use Luxy or ChatGPT or whatever. Lean on AI when you are stuck somewhere, because that will be able to answer questions that I can't even answer. Because the way I look at it is we all learn a little bit differently. So I try to put the structure here and all of the things that I use. And then if you get stuck somewhere, like for example, backtesting.py, I don't quite understand it, but Moon went over it. Give me 10 fun examples of how I can use backtesting.py and how it works. So I always like to do that. Just like, give me 10 examples of this because it doesn't make sense. Or give me 10 examples of this because it doesn't make sense. So CCXT, how do you import that? How do you go ahead and change your Anaconda environment location, and so on and so on. So have fun with it. I really appreciate great questions as well. So go ahead, feel free to post them in the Discord. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the rest of the bootcamp.